We live in a world that is often dominated by mundane news cycles. War, geopolitics, climate change, all very predictable. Very important, but predictable. We talk about it every night. But when it comes to Pakistan, headlines can often border on the absurd. Picture this. A nation on the brink of a power crisis. Citizens setting their electricity bills on fire, protests across the country, all while a pet lioness turns the streets of Karachi into her personal runway. It sounds like a bizarre tale, I know, but it played out in real life in Pakistan. It began last week. People took to the streets to protest. Why? Because of exorbitant electricity bills. They were already struggling with high inflation and soaring unemployment. So the hike in electricity costs was the final nail in the coffin. Protests erupted and spread to many cities, including Karachi, Lahore, Peshawar, Rawalpindi, and Islamabad. Basically, all of Pakistan was up in arms. Some blamed the government, others set fire to their bills. Reports say power bills have doubled from May to July. They've doubled. What explains the steep rise? So there is a lot of protest because of the steep rise in electricity bills, and we were talking about the IMF being linked to this. The new hike has to do with the International Monetary Fund. You see, in the month of June, the IMF agreed on a $3 billion bailout for Pakistan. But that bailout had some conditions, and one of them was to increase the cost of electricity. Pakistan's economy was struggling, inflation was at a record high, even now it is 29%. So the government agreed to all IMF conditions. And that led to the scenes we are witnessing today. Power bills in Pakistan are now higher than the salaries of some people. They simply cannot afford it. So they're burning the bills in protest. And what is the government doing about it? Currently, an interim government is in charge in Pakistan. The caretaker Prime Minister called for an emergency meeting. He asked authorities to take what he called corrective steps and concrete steps. But it has not translated into any relief yet, and it's not surprising. The government in Pakistan has its hands tied, a caretaker government even more so. The way to bring down power bills is to reduce taxes. They cannot do it at this point because it will upset the IMF and jeopardize the bailout package. The next tranche of funds could be delayed or not come at all, and Pakistan must save this deal at all costs. It saved them from a default. It also paved the way for billions of dollars in loans and investments, especially from countries like China and Saudi Arabia. So Pakistan simply cannot risk this IMF bailout. And while the streets turned into makeshift bill bonfires, Pakistan's smoky protest had a new member on Tuesday, a full-grown pet lioness.
We received information that a lion had escaped on Shahra-e-Faisal. Our teams rushed here immediately and rescued it. Praise be to Allah, it is with us safely and no one is in danger now.
Clearly, this wild cat has decided that the protests needed some roaring support. But puns aside, what is a lioness doing on the streets of Karachi? Keeping lions in residential areas is banned in Pakistan, but that has never really stopped its people. In fact, keeping wild cats as pets is quite common in the country. They're seen as symbols of wealth. The rich even operate private zoos. They often parade these cats in public. The lioness, too, was being transported by its owner. That's when she escaped onto the streets. It took 2 hours to catch her, and it was quite the chase, which brings us to the irony of the situation. On one hand, you have people struggling with inflation, struggling to pay their bills, struggling to afford food. On the other, you have Pakistan's rich, their lions parading the street. You can call it the Great Pakistan Circus.